Sometimes that is better.
Pete, what's that intro music?
It's the horror show music.
No, it's not.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh. Is it horror time already?
Yeah, it is.
I swear,
back.
after
We're
every
back, baby.
after every July, the Halloween shit comes quicker and quicker, even on this show. Damn it!
Well, let's just not get into Christmas too quick. I'm
Okay.
okay with the Halloween being year round.
Okay, Halloween year round, spooky season all the
Spooky
time.
season all the time. Live it, love it.
That is all right. It is August, and welcome to Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the podcast. I am one of your hosts, Charlie. With me, as always, is Pete. Say
You
hello
threw me
to
a
the people.
curveball
Pete.
there, man. You handed it off right away, and then tell me it wasn't the horror intro. Like, wait, what did we just listen to?
Now you know how I feel.
How's it going? I'm so happy that horror is back, and boy, we got a movie for us today.
Yeah, we do. So filling in the ranks for Nate this entire month, we have brought Anna from the Cinema Slab podcast over to kind of help keep me and Pete in line. This is pretty much most of it. So Anna, why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here and keep the seat warm for Nate while he's gone.
We're sorry we couldn't get a bigger
Gross.
seat for you. Nate's really small. That's just,
yeah.
He sits at the kids' table. You know, it's like those school desks we used to sit in when we were kids. You know, you look back at them as adults and go, I don't know how I fit in that.
Yeah, how did I fit in there? Well, he's got a nice butt indentation, so I'm sitting pretty comfy in it for the time being.
That usually helps. He's got something about butt all the time. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But you brought some backup tonight as well. Who did you bring with you?
I did. I brought my right-hand lady, Hannah, aka the Gore Gal. Had to bring her with me for this one.
Hello, everybody.
Yay!
Long time no talk.
I know. It's only been like a few weeks.
Shows.
Yeah, a couple weeks. But I love it. I'm so glad to be here tonight. I always love to pod with you guys. So much fun.
Oh yeah, we had a blast during Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Lot of feedback on that one. I think we really hit some, nerves with some people, not on a good thing, not on a bad way, but a good way.
Yeah,
it really kind of struck some people the right way, and overall month of action was a success. And yes, I said the word and no eagle. The eagle has gone and flown south.
Retired for
south.
For the winter.
The winter might come in a little quick, so no more eagle-y. He has done his duty. He will be back.
I tell you, Charlie, a month of action was a lot of fun this year. That's
God, it was.
It was fun.
5 for 5.
Yeah, and then we did every Friday with B Action, so it was a full month. Charlie's a little tired. Charlie is trying really hard not to pull a Nate, but it's okay. I am still here. It's a lot when you record and edit, and then I ended up guest appearing on some other podcasts. So it was like, that's my fault. And Nate's. I blame Nate.
It's Nate's fault, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just blame him.
We'll just blame him. He's not here.
He's not here.
Yeah.
I will always blame him. So yes, we are back to horror, and we are doing something a little different. We still wanted to do like a themed series, but we all kind of decided we didn't want to do an entire month, especially on a month that's very important to Nate, and he's not here right now. So we're actually doing like a truncated month of neon. So we're going to do 2 episodes this month dedicated to neon aesthetic movies. And we will definitely be getting into why Anna has picked this particular movie. We are covering David Cronenberg's Possessor.
No.
Oh,
Brandon Cronenberg.
That's right.
Baby Cronenberg.
R.I.P. Cronenberg.
I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah,
I knew you were gonna say it.
Yeah. That one, I've had that one locked and loaded.
Here we
all
go.
Day.
Yep, there he goes.
R.I.P. Brandon Cronenberg, or however we're going to do this.
Good boy.
Yeah, this is Baby Cronenberg.
Yes.
Baby,
yes.
Baby Cronenberg. See,
Yep.
I'm not ready to take this over. So I'll tell you what, let's jump into the trailer so I can hand this over to Anna. She is way more prepared for this than I am. So let's rock this out.
Interface is active and we're at full power.
What's your levels this time?
You just make sure you pull the trigger on the way out.
After initial binding, you'll be locked in, with no loss of control permitted during this performance. We can't afford any mistakes on this one.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Very good.
That was the best trailer I could find for a podcast.
I know.
There were some others, and I was like, man, I can't do Anna wrong and not have a trailer. On a movie she brings on here. So I played that one, but even listening back now, I'm going, I have no idea what the fuck is going on in this trailer.
That's when you jump on YouTube and watch along as you listen. It can be a whole submersive experience.
Yeah, it's very immersive. It's very immersive. So, like I said, I'm gonna turn the reins over to Anna. And the only thing I will say before we get too far into it is when I told her to pick a movie neon based, I was not expecting the very first thing to pop up on the screen when I play the movie is a giant neon sign that says neon. And I went, oh, very nice. Okay, I see what you did here. Even if there isn't any, the movie could have been pitch black, and I still couldn't have argued it. I could have been.
I had an argument right there. Yeah,
exactly.
It's there. So that's my piece on. Yes, this totally fits the neon.
It's the criteria
we're going for. So
yeah, just because it was distributed by Neon. Yeah. And I honestly didn't realize that until I was rewatching it this time around for the podcast. I was like, oh shit, Neon distributed this. Well, that works.
That was just like right then and there. So I don't have any history with this. This is the first time watch for me. Pete, first time watch for you, bud?
Yeah, it's first time watch for me. This was not on my radar. I
never even heard of it.
I never had heard of it. I know of Brandon Cronenberg, and I knew he was an up-and-comer. And I usually like to watch the movies at least twice before we come on. And this week was that whole
works in IT.
That whole CrowdStrike thing hit us real bad. So we went in on the weekend and put in another 9 hours today and probably tomorrow.
Damn.
So I'm going to do my best to remember. I'm not what they call a smart man. So it's still a little fuzzy. I had to read the Wikipedia on it to refresh my memory. So no, this was quite enjoyable. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. This is clearly not Hannah. How about you? Is this your first? This wasn't your first watch, was it?
Mm-mm. Second time watch. I watched it the first time with Anna. She had already
watched it. Yeah. And I was like, you got to watch this. It's right up your alley.
Because the reason why we started getting into Brandon Cronenberg was because we saw Infinity Pool. Yeah. And we absolutely loved Infinity Pool. And so then Anna she watched Possessor, and then she was telling me about it. Yeah. And so she came over one night, and it was probably one night after we recorded or something. Yeah. And we ended up watching it. And I will tell you, I did not like it the first time I watched it. I don't know. I wasn't that crazy about it. And then when she said she picked it for, y'all's podcast, I was like, okay, that's cool. That'll give me another chance to watch it. And I absolutely loved it this time. It was just like, I got it. I don't know. I can't explain. This time I went into it with a different mindset, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I would tell both of y'all, it's first time watches and you haven't got to watch it a second time, I would definitely watch it a second time. Yeah. I feel like you may like it a lot more, and you may see a lot of stuff you didn't see the first time you watched it.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Yeah.
I
know I missed a lot of stuff.
Oh,
yeah. I think it got brought up or maybe in our group chat, or I saw something about it again. Like I got reminded of it after I saw Infinity Pool. I was like, oh yeah, I need to watch that. And he's only done Infinity Pool, Possessor, and Antiviral. Antiviral was his first film. He's done a bunch of shorts. But apparently Antiviral is kind of like the least favorite of the three, and its description didn't really sound as appealing to me. It's a
disgusting description. That movie sounds awful.
Yeah, I was like, well,
it's
I don't know
probably
about
wonderful, but just the premise of Antivirus is like, oh, that takes
and the guy who's the lead guy in it, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I don't know. He's just weird. And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't want to watch that at the time. So I went with Possessor, and I was pleasantly surprised. I call it Cronenberg comfort, because there's something about the Cronenberg name that it's so weird and crazy. But as soon as you put the movie on, you're instantly able to suspend disbelief and kick back and be like, okay, this is just the world. This is how things are. And you're along for the ride the whole time. And that's how I felt when I started this movie. And it just went a bunch of places I didn't really expect it to. Like, I think 99% of this movie is practical effects. Like there's hardly any visual effects used. So all the morphing of Toss into Colin and vice versa, and just the way he shot those scenes of their consciences or their minds, forming and going back and forth, was just really cool. And it did it in a way that made my brain go like, whoa, what is going on? But then at the same time, you're like, I get it. Like, this is really cool. I see what he's trying to do. I see what he's trying to say. And it was just a fun ride. And I was really surprised by it. And then the violence, when it does get violent, it's gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, it's that body horror gore that kind of comes along with the Cronenberg name.
Yeah.
That was definitely something that kept me going in this movie. Like, it starts out really violent. We follow the girl that is at a dinner party. We know nothing other than she stabs a needle into her own head, which is pretty graphic. And I went, yes, Cronenberg, here we go.
Here we go.
Exactly what I signed up for. And then the visceralness of the stabbing that she does on that guy is just like, it kept going. Like, I was like, oh, stabbed him in the neck, done. And it kept going and going for a solid 30 seconds. She's stabbing this guy and then just playing in the blood. And I was just like, so, okay, this is where we're going. No idea what's happening, but I'm in.
Yeah. And you also realize they gave her a gun. She had a gun
she had the option
kill him
to shoot
with.
him, and
she didn't have to stab him like that, and she chose to do that. So I think that's the start of where we're seeing Voss's, where she's losing sight of herself. She's starting to feel more comfortable in other people's bodies, like we see when she gets out and she does her little test is her name Gerder, I think?
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah. And she does her test with her. And she, one thing she talks about is that butterfly that she mounted as a girl. And she says that little extra part about she still feels bad about it,
Yeah, she felt
to
guilty,
this day.
like
So we're
that.
kind of seeing, she still has some humanity left in there. And then we see her trying to go see Michael and her son Ira. And she's literally having to stand out there and say these lines like, I'm absolutely starving, and hi darling, hi. Can you imagine having to go home and before you go in your house you have to, I don't know, psych yourself up,
try to remember who you were.
Yeah,
the last time you were with them, memories of maybe what you all were doing, and and things of that nature. Because I mean, I can't speak on Antiviral, but Infinity Pool is all about identity. Like that's the main premise of the plot. And the same thing goes with this one. I think that's the main driving force of the plot is identity and who she becomes when she goes under and she goes into these other people's minds and takes them over, and she can kind of tap into her darkness and that side of her that really has fun with it. Like you said, she had a gun. She could have taken the easy way out and just shot them, but no, she chose to continually stab them and play in the blood, like almost like a child would in a way.
But then at the same time, she can't shoot herself. So is that, like I said, she can't shoot herself. So is that her feeling sorry for that innocent person that she's taken their mind over and she feels bad and she just can't, or is that their will taking over at that time?
That's
because they're about to die.
That's where I'm a little on the fence of, because yes, it could either be like when she says, pull me out. One, she's having to put all of her trust in these people to get her out of there before she pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know if that's going to kill her mind in some way. We see her get some kind of brain damage when things go awry with Colin later. So maybe if she didn't get pulled out, her mind would be gone. The brain damage would be irreversible.
Yeah.
Or it could be the other side of that, like you were saying.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like the gun is like physical. So it's almost like it's that person's will. Like, I don't know, they know they're about to die. So their will becomes super strong at that moment. And
do you all think that like these people, they're conscious? Well, like when they see everything, like they can live it, they're living it, but they can't do anything about it. Like they're still in their body and they can see everything that's going on. So then when she does get pulled out, like you said, it's that moment of, because whenever at the beginning with Holly, whenever she says, pull me out, and then in the next few seconds, she starts crying. I don't think that's Voss crying. I think that's Holly. Because she's coming to terms at that moment with, okay, I did this. I did all these things. I don't remember doing them, but I obviously did them. And now I can either kill myself or die by cop, pretty much, which is what she chose.
So, yeah, watching this for the first time, not knowing anything, especially in this first scene, kind of get the gist. She's in her brain. I got that because I didn't even watch the trailer. I literally just I pulled a Pete, started the movie.
No trailer.
Went in.
No trailer.
I recommend it.
I did read the little blurb before the movie started, so I kind of got assassins in other people's brains. That's really all I needed to know.
Yeah,
kind of very Inception-ish.
Yes, dude, I had that wrote down.
Yep.
So I kind of got that as the movie went on. I went Inception without an insane budget.
Dreams.
That actually works better, I think.
Yeah.
But watching this first interaction where she's doing the whole pull me out and everything, my first thought was they went after this one girl that works there, and my first thought was, okay, she's maybe suffers from depression. Maybe she's already somewhat suicidal. And so when she goes, about to pull the trigger, pull me out, I assumed kind of like the Matrix where they would phone and they would, you're unplugged, you're out of there. And so when she couldn't finish off, shooting herself, I immediately said, oh yeah, death by cop. I looked at Jackie and said, she's going to die by cop. And then the cops come running in. And so I was like, okay, so that girl wanted to die. They're going after weak-minded people that they can control, which is kind of half truth. But I don't really know, and I don't think we're really supposed to know who's in control at any point, because the way Colin's thing goes completely to shit, or does it? I have my own thoughts on what's going on there.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, we can get into
that. But Pete, what about you? What did you initially think with this first segment?
The opening scene was stunning. It was so wonderfully violent, shocking at times,
operatic, really.
Yeah.
Like, what a way to start the movie.
After watching the movie as a whole, I questioned whether the Holly had some sort of beef with this guy already. Like, was she his employee? Was she treated like garbage? And maybe instead of her using that gun, she used that knife because maybe that's something she wanted to do, something secretly, internally. Holly wanted to do that to this man.
Yeah.
And that emotion bled in, and that's what this whole movie is. It's the bleeding of minds. It's the mixing of it and not being able to control who you are. And I'm not real sure why it started to fail with what was the fellow's name again? Colin. You think it sounded like Boss was doing this for quite some time, and she was really good at her job.
Yeah.
I don't know why those barriers would break down. You'd think they'd only get stronger after a while.
Well, that leads into what my theory is.
Yeah.
Later.
So I haven't had enough viewings, nor have I had enough time to really think about it to really give you some meaty stuff.
It's just been Control Alt Delete for like the entire weekend,
pretty much. Yeah,
it's okay.
It was deliciously weird, very, very Cronenberg. I mean, that's like you said earlier, Anna. When you get into a Cronenberg movie, regardless who it is, you just got to wipe your brain clean. Okay, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Don't try to explain it. Don't Neil deGrasse Tyson this bitch. Just take it for what it's worth, and then you can think about it, and that's when the fun starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what today's been for me. Is I didn't have time to rewatch it, so it's been a rethink it. Because
contemplative.
I will be honest. I was puppy dogging all the way through the movie. My head was turned sideways, and I had an eyebrow up, going.
That's how I was the first time.
What's happening? What's going? Like Jackie and I are like tossing little ideas out as it's going, and just like I have no idea. Okay? You're enjoying this? Yeah, so far I'm like, okay, same. I just don't know what I'm enjoying.
Right.
But, visually, out the gate, this is a gorgeous movie.
Absolutely.
Like, set design, lighting. This definitely fits a neon because there are just red washes, blue washes, yellow washes, just so many. And when I say that, it's like that's the color in the entire screen. Just everything is that. But y'all were talking about a moment that comes after when she gets out and she does the little test to make sure her brain is de-separated from the host. Is when she's standing outside of her own family. As the action guy, I went immediately back to True Lies, having to shed that alternate identity. And it's like, here is Harry Tasker keychain, Harry Tasker wallet, Harry Tasker this, and I was just like, okay, it's kind of this moment of, it's me. How do I sound normally? It's like, hello, I'm hungry. Hello, I'm starving. She kept changing the pitch and the tone, and so I kind of understood where she was going with that. And to come to find out, it kind of pays off later in the movie. It is an important scene towards the end. All of this happening. Oh yeah. It's a Cronenberg thing. You're watching something you think is innocuous, and then later it is an important plot point as the movie goes. It's just, man, what he's able to do now that I think his dad wished he probably could have done in the 80s is that vivid color, and that it's just a saturation of just, I don't know. I keep wanting to say color, but I wish there was another word I could say. Just vibrance. The visual vibrance of just what's on the screen is also just an experience. I did make the joke, Jackie, and I was like, if we did drugs, we'd probably love this movie. She's like, I see that. She goes, I can understand someone that is high probably got a totally different feel from this movie. And I'm like, I was like, I can see that. But I was like, I was enjoying it, but I was just like, I don't know what I'm enjoying. I don't know what's going on. and it was just hard for me to. And this is my first Brandon Cronenberg. Like I haven't seen any of his other stuff.
Oh wow.
You know,
Okay.
no.
Interesting.
I'd never even heard of this movie. You said Possessor, and I was like, "Isn't this? No way."
Yeah,
in the 80s, there's a movie called Possessed. I was like, "That's
and
not
then
this.
Possession. That's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Possession," and this was on Tubi. I guess there's like a super duper unrated cut that I kind of wish I'd watched.
I think there's only a few minutes difference in the uncut version, and I think it's more of like the sex scenes.
Yeah,
more violence and sex is what I watch. Oh yeah, I'm so watching this movie. I kept going, damn it, Pete. Oh wait, this isn't Pete.
I didn't
damn it,
this
Pete.
one.
Oh wait, this isn't Pete.
And Pete even said, you better be sure to tell Jackie that this wasn't a Pete pick.
I told Jackie before we started, I was like, okay, so Anna picked this. So anything that's in there, it's Anna. And then the second that first sex scene starts, I went, damn it, Pete. Oh, wait.
Damn it,
Anna. Wait till later this month.
And not only that, but we get a female with a male genitalia.
That was a delightful scene when she pops into his body.
Was that delightful?
It was hilarious because Charlie, you do the same thing. If you pop into the body of some gal, you'd be like, let's just take a look here.
Yeah, that part I was thinking of the other one that happens later. No, when that happened, when she body swaps into Colin, Jackie immediately goes, well, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
I would definitely
check it out.
You gotta at least see what you're packing.
Exactly. To take that package for a ride,
But
he's trying to get his girlfriend in bed for 10 minutes.
You're in there. You're in that body for up to like 3 days. You're gonna have to pee. You better know how to work the equipment. You might be in a public bathroom.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, it flies up and hits you in the face. You don't want to be next to somebody when that happens.
Yeah.
Talented man.
So I have a fun piece of trivia about that. Brandon Cronenberg said he originally wrote the scene in which Voss has sex with the intention of showing Voss as having a penis, but he subsequently edited the script knowing some actors would not feel comfortable with it. Upon casting Andrea Riseborough, who played Voss, the two had a conversation during which she suggested the idea of Voss having male genitalia, which delighted Cronenberg and made him feel like she was reading his mind. The scene was rewritten back to its original form, and what is seen on film is what Cronenberg initially envisioned.
Nice. I mean,
that's awesome.
I know someone could probably take this bad, and I'm not meaning this bad, but with a family of people that are known for the body horror, that's a shocking moment that happens in here. Body horror doesn't have to be gore. It can just completely catches you off
body
guard.
Dysmorphia.
And that was a moment where I was just like, whoa, was not expecting that.
Hello.
And she's really enjoying that too. When she was doing it with her husband earlier, it's just they're just like she's dead or something. It was awful.
She's thinking about killing that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Screwing her husband /
thinking about her job.
Yeah. And so they're separated. So that was kind of another important thing that she talks about. She talks to Girder. I knew it was a G. R.I.P. Cronenberg. But
damn it, Charlie.
He's not dead.
They keep she keeps pushing the fact that, well, you're separated. Well, I thought you were like done with the family life. And we learn as the movie goes that Girder has been grooming her to replace her in this business of assassination for control. So they get paid to assassinate people, but they're also looking for ways to have like blackmail over people, which is what the Colin situation ultimately is they're being paid for this assassination of Sean Bean, which I immediately went, know what's going to happen there.
Right.
And then made me mad at the end.
Man can't catch a break.
Nope.
He didn't die though.
I know.
Yeah. He lived. Like, I was like, that's not supposed to happen.
I know. Yeah. They pulled the rug out from under us.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it, Cronenberg. You're supposed to kill Sean Bean. But, this whole thing is about them setting it up. But Girder is always reminding Voss, I thought you were done with that life. And it's almost like she's guilting her 90% of the time. Like, you don't need a break. You need to get back to work. We got a really big job. This is huge for the company. Yada, yada, yada. Just really trying to coerce her into not leaving. And what's this main actress's name? The real name? Did you know?
Andrea Riseborough.
So I'm watching this movie going, wow, she has very, I want to say striking, but I think I told Jackie, I said, she has really weird facial structure in this movie. Like,
Yeah,
she looks almost alien.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and
Alien.
Jackie
Yes.
kept going, do you just not like skinny blonde girls? I went, well, it's not that. I said, just look at her. It's like stuff doesn't look symmetrical. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because there's a scene where they show her from the side of her side profile. I'm like, look how low her ears are. Like, it's not where you would normally see things. Anyway,
Yeah.
but then I saw her picture on IMDb going, that ain't the same girl.
Yeah, no, they
That's
look
not
like
even the
two
same
totally
girl.
different people.
Yeah.
I would not
totally.
have believed. She looks like the one chick from Diane Wood. You know,
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yolandi. She looks like Yolandi in this
yeah.
movie. And then I see her IMDb, and she's got like red hair, full face,
Yeah.
fuller.
Mhm.
And I was just like, holy shit. And I know it's a Cronenberg thing to find someone that really looks the part too. And I think she does well, but I was almost like, did they put stuff on her face? Was she
I
like
bet.
starving herself?
I
for
think
like
it was
a
just the
month?
lighting too. Like, if you
Oh.
think of all the crazy lighting that's
Yeah.
throughout, or if there's not any neon crazy lighting, it's very shadowed and kind of dark and
Well,
dim lit. So
even in the light, it caused dark shadow. So you would
Yeah.
have intense light, like say from above, and that
Mhm.
would make her all her lower proportions dark.
Mhm.
And lighting was amazing in this movie, like
Yeah.
flat out. Again, I'm just going to keep harping on the visuals. The visuals kept me entertained
Oh,
when
yeah.
I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, I'm even looking at like the thing they put her in for the body transfer. It's just oddly shaped. But then I went, that looks like the office chairs they were just sitting in. They're just like
Mhm.
cylinders, almost organic, but not like techno organic. Almost, I guess
Yeah.
would be the right word. It was just odd. And
I love too, like
Yeah.
how it's got this other part, like when Gerder's kind of laying there, it's kind of like a lounge on the other end, and she's just
Yeah.
like kicked back talking to her while she's under, and I'm like, well, that's really an interesting shape, and it's not something you see all the time.
The going under thing was really kind of different for me, because we're used to seeing the movies where they're under, the body's just there. I mean, they've done it in the newer avatars. We've talked about Matrix. It's just like their body's not responding. But in this one, Voss is talking in her own body and talking through the host.
Yeah.
And I love that when they would really try to show she was communicating back to headquarters or whatever it is, they would morph the voices. It would be
Yeah.
Voss's and
Be both of
Collins.
them,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
Or,
both.
I was like, that was definitely kind of otherworldly and very Cronenberg-ish. I mean, now's when we can start using it as a verb. Is
Right.
very
Yeah.
Cronenberg-ish when they do that in here.
So I want to talk about the that calibration system that they stick in their head at the beginning. We see Holly use it, and then we see her use it with Colin. So, and Anna was talking earlier about when Holly was using it, she was going through, like, she was kind of going through these emotions, like she's kind of laughing and smiling, and then she starts crying, like as she's turning that up. So is
Mhm.
that something to do with that calibration system? Is that what making the emotions change, or is it actually Voss, is it her emotions?
I mean, it could be either. It could be either way, because she does it with Colin later too. Like when she's
Yeah, and
looking in
it's
the
the
mirror
same.
as Colin, he's smiling, and as him, she's smiling, and then he even starts crying when he turns it
Yeah.
up.
Because
I
it's like
think
she's trying to smile, but
Yeah.
it's crying, like she's
Yeah.
trying to like still smile, but she starts crying.
So
I don't know.
Gerder, for the Colin thing, she said, I want you to calibrate at this. And she gives like a series of numbers and letters.
Yeah.
So my thought is so that Voss is in control. It's so that when Voss needs to cry, Colin cries. So that is this setting to make sure, say like 10 means crying. So if they set it at 10 and Voss cries, Colin needs to be crying.
Right.
Or if
Okay,
set it
I
at
see.
1,
Perfect. Yeah.
Colin needs to be happy. So if Voss reacts happy, Colin is happy at 1. I took it as a literal calibration, as if you're trying to get
Right.
two
Yes,
things
I didn't.
in
That's
sync.
That makes
Charlie,
total
I didn't
sense.
guess.
Yeah.
Total sense.
because
You
it's
just
very
explained it out a little better.
Yeah.
because there's something also odd with this movie that I was enjoying is this is very futuristic, but crudely futuristic.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
looks the apparatus they're using literally looks like a headphone jack with a longer needle to
Yeah.
put into their brain.
Yeah.
And then it looks like an old radio, old Walkman or something
Yeah.
that you would tune.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but then you would have scenes very futuristic looking in the headquarters, but they're all driving old cars, which I always get drawn to in movies. I was immediately like, oh shit, that's a kick-ass Packard, or they're driving a like a 70s Lincoln a little bit later, and it's an electric blue Lincoln. So it's very striking. But I started noticing going, there's no future cars. So like this is an alternate reality of, steampunk where there is technology, but it's older. So it's not our 2024. This is like their 1980 or something like
I want
that.
to say
but
I
it's
read
futuristic.
somewhere it's based in 2008. It's supposed to be like a futuristic 2008.
Okay. So I guess I get that. Maybe they just didn't bother with brand new cars because everyone, there was a Volkswagen
Yeah.
Bug that somebody
yeah.
was driving. And
Yeah.
you don't see it a lot, which I was
Right.
like, okay, they're not going to shoot a whole lot of driving sequences and stuff. There was no need
It's
for
not
it.
that kind of movie.
No,
Right,
it wasn't. Although, why did dude work at the Minecraft building? That electric green.
The Minecraft building.
I immediately went, oh, Minecraft. And I was like, is this a joke? Because he worked for a data mining company. Like, did he just fucking pull a Minecraft joke? And I only know it because of my kids.
Right.
So Liam plays Minecraft and he gets the green dude, the zombie or whatever. And it's that color green everywhere in squares.
Yep.
And I was just like, it's a data mining company. Minecraft.
That makes sense.
Maybe.
That makes sense. That's great.
Dude.
And that's like a whole other conversation too. Like data mining, that's real. That really happens.
That's real,
They're
but
just doing it manually. They're not letting bots do it. They're physically hooking people up. There's got to be cameras everywhere. Like what?
I know.
Where were all these cameras coming from? And then this poor guy is counting drapery.
Yeah, curtains. What kind of
What an
curtains people are buying?
existence.
But I was talking to Jackie about that because we get this very graphic sex scene just out of nowhere. You're just like, holy shit!
Hello.
Like, clear the browser.
Yeah.
But but then he starts going, oh yeah, and he starts describing the curtains, and we're both just sitting there. I was like, so he's like looking at. He's not supposed to look at what's happening. He's looking at. I was like, this is when Amazon knows what I need, and I don't fucking say it out loud.
Exactly.
And it just goes, you may be interested in this. And I was like, this is a whole, like they're showing like a literal, instead of computers data mining, they are paying people to sit. I love the virtual reality that you have a virtual reality office, but you're 2 foot away from the person next to you.
Yeah,
I
you're sitting
know.
there at a bench.
Right.
Yeah, like no partitions or nothing. They're at a table with the fucking Top Golf ball, from the arcade.
Yeah.
And that's all you're rocking with, and you put on these stuff. Now I will go, that was a nice little throwback to your dad. I can admit watching that whole sequence, because the fronts of all the VR were like cross-sected like fly eyes. And I went,
Oh,
that
cool.
was
I didn't
that
notice
was
that.
Oh,
a
yeah, that is.
that
awesome.
was a hey dad, look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that's not what that was, because otherwise someone would have just done like black
Yeah.
or some red.
That's a good point.
That is.
It was literally a fly's eye on the front of these visors, and I went, ah, I know what you did.
That's awesome.
R.I.P. Cronenberg.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Hey, look, Dad, I
dude.
made it.
Oh my lord.
Here's to you, Dad. Pouring one out to you. Oh wait, I'll
Charles
see you
is
at
trying to
Thanksgiving.
kill everybody
I
off.
know.
Oh shit.
Poor Daddy Cronenberg.
Poor Val Kilmer.
So
Rip Val
right,
Kilmer.
I know we killed Val
I will-
Kilmer a few weeks ago.
I'll
Golly.
kill everybody. I don't give a shit. Everybody. I'll get real dark. One day I'll be right.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yep.
Made me watch a fucked up movie. Guess
And
what's
then you'll be
happening?
like, ha ha. You'll make light of the situation. Everybody
Right.
will be sad. And you'll come in and
Everybody's
be like,
gonna
told you.
see,
Yeah.
everybody's gonna be crying, and I'll come on and I'll be like, R.I.P. Cronenberg, and they're all gonna be like, oh, we see what you
I
did
told
there,
y'all this
Charlie."
years ago.
No.
Charlie's taking over for The Simpsons.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be in Cronenberg's eulogy. They'll be like, and whoever that dude is that kept saying R.I.P. Cronenberg for 10 years.
Yeah.
Now's your one moment, sir.
Go listen to his podcast.
Now's your moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
good
So I have a
Lord.
question, and Charlie, this might tie into what your theory was.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've mentioned that yet, have you?
I haven't. I've been saving
Okay.
it.
So do you think the way this movie ended, do you think that was the plan all along?
Yep.
Because that Michael and Ira, that they were her humanity. And
Yeah.
once they were gone and out of the picture, she could fully be that badass assassin without anything holding her
Yep.
back. And she wouldn't have to second guess anything and have no regrets. That's why at the end, when the butterfly comes up again, she doesn't say that she
Yep.
regrets killing it. And Gerder says very good. And at that moment, we realize, okay, this was the point of the whole movie. And if you notice too, whenever Colin and Ira, like their blood's bleeding out, it looks like that butterfly.
It's the
The
shape
shape
of the
of it,
butterfly.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I missed that too.
See, you really need to
Told
watch
you.
it a second
I
time.
told you I wasn't a
I-
smart person.
I haven't watched it a second time, but I was also picking up on some cues once I kind of got an idea what was going on. I got this back, and I try really hard not to do it out loud to Jackie because I can ruin movies really fast. I kind of pick up on things quickly, and I want her to come to them gradually, but I also want to be like, I knew that was going to happen. So it's really hard to not be like, I knew that. She's like, no, you didn't. I was like, yes, I did.
Yeah, you want to take credit for it. You're like, I figured it
Yeah.
out.
I knew this already, but I was picking up on it, because of what Gerder was like, your family, you said you were done. But
Yeah.
the moment when shit goes sideways, which we're going to talk about what happened at Collins for this to happen. But after that, and she's supposed to kill herself through Colin, make Colin kill himself, and it doesn't, and it starts going haywire. Gerder immediately goes, don't pull her out. Like everyone's like, we gotta get her out. And she's like, no, don't.
No.
She's
Yeah.
got to see this through. She's got to see this through. And I have another theory as we get further into it, but I do not want to pass over what happens in the mansion.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because look, I'm going to tell our listeners right now, we are not going to describe this movie in any capacity that you're going to understand.
We'll never
This
do
is-
it justice.
This is strictly, you really need to watch this. And
Yeah.
this is not I hated this movie, don't watch it. This is I don't understand this movie, but other people will probably love it. Watch it.
It's complicated. Go watch it.
Yeah.
It's free. It's
very
on Tubi.
complicated. Yeah, totally. But basically, they get hired to assassinate this guy that owns this data mining company that I mentioned. Colin is dating the daughter of the guy that owns it.
Yeah.
So I don't-
Colin works for the dad. It's that whole trope.
Sean Bean is the dad. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Sean Bean is the dad, and they only show this guy one time, but they've been hired by a brother,
Yeah.
Richter.
Mhm.
And I think they really only show him one time.
Yeah, when Gerder's like showing Voss the pictures and saying,
Yeah,
here's your next
That's
mark.
the only
And
time we see him.
yeah, she's breaking down the plan for her. That's the only time
he's
we
not
see
even
him.
he's not even at the party, which kind of like I was
I
like,
know.
Yeah.
oh, he's not like he must be
Which-
like fully estranged or something like that. I don't
Maybe
know.
that was for a reason too. Like maybe that was in case things went south. Maybe he didn't want to be in the area to where he could be implicated as any kind of suspect.
Plausible
You know what I mean?
deniability. I mean that
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
would work, especially when you're talking this level of stuff. And then
Right.
so the company that Voss works for, they went, well, this is a win-win for us because we get paid by this guy. But once he's in charge of this data mining, like $1 billion company, we own him because now we can blackmail him knowing what he did.
Exactly.
So that is kind of the big push by Girder on why they're doing it. So that's the meat and potatoes of this.
Yeah.
And so Voss has 3 days to do the mission before the link starts to deteriorate, no more than 5 days before basically brain death.
Yeah.
It's all that they have to do this. And I'm like, okay, I like that. I like having some kind of finite timeline.
Yeah.
That she can't just be
That you're
attached to this
fighting
guy
against.
forever.
Yeah.
So, and she's already shown some degradation. And I feel like that is kind of like to take the audience not focus on, oh, what's happening. It's like, oh, okay, maybe she's slowly been breaking down as the movie goes. So you're not as shocked when it happens between her and Colin, which is what happens. She takes over Colin. She assassinates. And this is, good God, this assassination, I was not expecting that, like, at all. We've gotten flashes of the first dude being stabbed, and she keeps kind of reliving it.
Mm-hmm.
And Colin walks back in after this dinner party. He makes himself out as an ass, which is part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Bean and the daughter are drinking. They're fully drunk. Perfect time. Colin comes back in. He's supposed to kill them both, kill himself, murder, suicide, wipe your hands, you're done.
Yeah.
And he comes in, or she, however you want to look at it, and she doesn't go directly to him. She walks through the house to see him, has a gun again, but goes to the fireplace and picks up the fire poker. And I was like,
Yep.
ooh, okay. Hit him over the head, some blunt force trauma, make it personal. I dig it. I'm in. Yeah. That happens like a couple times. And then he beats the shit out of Sean Bean. And then good God, Anna, tell him what happens next.
Like he stabs it down like in his mouth and twists. So we see teeth breaking. And then he digs out an eye.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All in camera.
Right.
Like they don't shy away.
Yeah. They
And
don't
it's
shy
just-
away.
And the shot of it's kind of like up at Colin when he's holding the poker. And for those of you, I'm sorry, for the younger generation that maybe don't know, fire pokers have like the sharp end and then like a hook.
Yeah.
So you could
Yeah.
pull logs, poke at the fire. It's the word
Yeah.
fire poker.
Oh.
Look, Pete was
Wow.
like, son of a bitch. I just been calling it stabby metal thing this whole time. But it looks like, he's getting ready to drive it like into their chest or into their heart.
Oh no.
But
Oh,
that
no. So
camera
much better.
cut to this thing being in Sean Bean's mouth and practical effect.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Sean Bean
Yeah.
is spitting out fake blood with this like prop thing coming out of his mouth, but I am fully believing there's a fire poker digging around in that shit.
Like a champ, dude.
Oh, good God. And pulls it out. And I am talking like the poker doesn't go in the eye, it goes under the eye.
Yeah.
And
Scoops
pop-
it out.
the eyeball is coming out of the socket, all while Sean Bean's head's moving around.
Like they did in
excellent,
Egyptian days.
excellent practical effects. Period.
Mhm.
Like chef's kiss. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter comes down, hysterical, shoots her. I was like, yes, there we go. Use that gun.
You finally used the gun.
Yes.
Wounds her. She's like running away, bleeding, all this shit. Walks over to her, like does everything. Like I'm yelling, like double tap, double tap.
Yeah,
And
right.
boom, shoots her in the back of the head twice. And then the disconnect, the link starts fucking up. And she's trying to shoot herself as Colin. And we find out Colin is fighting back.
Yeah.
Colin is grabbing control back from Voss. And so now you have two minds in one body.
Yeah.
And now is like utter chaos for the company, for Voss, for Colin.
Crisis mode.
Colin, Colin has killed, the girl he was in love with. The daddy didn't give a shit about, but knew that's where money come from.
Yeah.
So it was never his intention to do it. And so now we are on this, like, it's almost like a chase, but the person that's being chased is inside the other person.
They're already there with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're paranoid that they think they're being followed, because you see those two dudes smoking.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're just dudes.
Yeah. Just
They're
dudes.
not actually following them. And Colin's freaking out. And so he's got partial knowledge. So he saw what he did. So apparently there's some validity to that. They witness some of what
is aware
Voss
of his
does.
actions.
Yeah. But so they run to a mutual friend, a girl. You find out they have a fling. Apparently,
I was going to say,
Yeah, they have an open relationship.
You think it was open relationship, or was he cheating on the?
Well, there's a
sugar
scene
mama?
whenever Colin is first there with his girlfriend and her friends, and Colin goes into the bathroom and she follows him in there, and she's like, "Oh, when I come back from Chicago, we should hook up or whatever." I talked to the girlfriend,
Ava.
She doesn't care. Ava, yeah. Ava totally doesn't care. So it seems to me like they just have an open relationship, and even whenever they're in the kitchen and Voss first is in Colin's body, and he's, I don't know, just kind of, I don't know, maybe being more loving and attentive than she's used to. And even then it seemed very meek, by what I see normally in movies and stuff. And she's like, "You've gone strange on me." And he's doing the opposite of what you would think going strange on someone would be. Like, he's being more attentive and loving, but to her, that's strange. So they already kind of have a weird relationship going on. And they're also drug addicts, because Colin used to sell cocaine, and that's how they met in the first place. And typical story of a lady shacking up with her drug dealer. And just lucky for him, he shacked up with somebody whose dad has a shit ton of money.
Old as time.
Yeah. Well,
tale as old as time.
I kind of took it as Ava almost sort of knowing that there was something different about him, because women are very intuitive that way.
He's not the bad boy
anymore. I took it
as
she was being because he wasn't acting, and it also comes to your point as well, Anna. He wasn't. She was being a little more loving than she was used to, and but I also took it as she was just kind of being intuitive, and there was just something, she couldn't put her finger on it, but there was just something different about Colin.
They do this little thing, and I don't know how much it helps when I watched it, is that Voss is surveilling Colin for a little while.
Yeah.
But really all she's doing is watching him through binoculars, and can hear, and is repeating phrases. So I'm wondering if it's mostly once you're in the brain, maybe you know more at that point of how they are. But I took it completely as he's no longer the bad boy. And Ava picked up on that immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we hear from his buddy that he was supposed to be hooking up with some chick out of town.
Yeah.
And, he plays it off with that guy. And they even say it when they're sending her Voss, they go, "Okay, keep minimal conversations at work. Keep, just don't get sucked in too deep to where someone would know you're not who you are." And that's what I took that little phrase from the company being keep conversations minimal, and it's almost I'm sure she's a professional, she's done it a lot, but it's that reminding, because you're talking about going into someone else's brains. Hey, don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do that.
And there's also a sense of too, like you want to make it believable, so you kind of want to overcompensate a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that, but so yeah, Colin goes back to this girl because it's the only person he knows he can run to.
Yeah.
And man, this like totally goes sideways as well.
His
That-
mind's still broken, kind of, because at first he's saying like, well, I didn't have a choice. It was self-defense. Like it kind of gives me the vibe of he's still putting pieces together. He knows he did it, but he doesn't know why. It has to be because they had to have given me a reason to do that. I wouldn't just go after my fiance and her dad for no reason whatsoever. So I think at that point his brain is still kind of putting the fragments together, and that's why he says, "Oh, they didn't give me a choice." And then the longer he sits there, and when he's watching the TV and he's starting to say the "hi darling," and everything's starting, like their two minds are starting to blend together and things are starting to get mixed up, that's when I think more pieces start forming for him, and he starts to realize too that he has more control than he thinks he does.
This is the push and pull scene, because a lot of what he does, because so he kills the girl, but to me that's Voss. Voss gets just enough control to eliminate a witness. And no matter what's going on, this is still working to the mission's benefit. Now he's killed dad and daughter. Now he went to someone else he knew and has killed them. So everything's still working. And again, this leads even to what I'm, think later on is a lot of this was orchestrated. None of this is chaos as far as the plan. Like, I really feel like all of this was set up. And so we see him pull the gun on her. We don't see him shoot her, but it immediately cuts to him just kind of chilling. And there's a knock at the door. And it's Colin, open up, Colin.
Yeah,
it's
Eddie
me.
from work.
It's Eddie from work. And I looked at Jackie and went, why would Eddie know he's there? And she just kind of looked at me like, oh, yeah. And so he opens up the door, and then he starts repeating the stuff only Voss would know. So I was like, motherfucker's a plant. And then for a split second, I went, oh, shit, they took his brain. But then it finally come back to where, oh, he is a plant. I was like, nailed it. Got it. Okay, I see what's going on. He pulled that fucking electric stun freaking blunderbuss.
Yeah,
shoots him in the back of the head. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Electrical sparks flying everywhere, and then out. Like, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So this is also the moment where Charlie's like getting back into it. I was like, oh, this is exciting. Okay, what's happening?
Back up.
Yeah, back up. He wakes up on the bed. Eddie's like plugging shit into him. Again, very retro technology in a futuristic movie.
Yeah.
But he's wiring him back up. We can't not. How he disconnects from HQ is he stabs a shard of glass into the port in the back of his brain.
Yeah. Oh.
And that scene was pretty cool. But when it shows him at the bathroom and he pulls that sliver of glass out, and it's just, oh my gosh. I'm okay with gore and stuff, but that was just like,
you felt that one.
Yeah.
You should have been pulling fingernails or some shit, because that was just no. But Eddie fixes the port in the back of the head and is trying to get Voss back on mission, and Voss hands him the gun and is like, okay, kill me. And he goes, I can't. You have to kill yourself, otherwise the mission is fucked.
I love how he says, I'm a Christian too. He goes, I can't, I'm a Christian.
I'm a Christian. I totally forgot about that. This guy was talking about I can't wash the sin out of what I did this weekend. And then he ends on, I'm a Christian. I can't do that. Like, really?
And but so the little firework shoot gun thingy, with the sparks, Eddie does that so Voss can get full control back of Colin. Yeah. And I love, probably my favorite shot of the movie. In a movie filled with a ton of them. Every shot is great. But when it's Colin laying on the bed and it's going from what we're seeing to what's in his mind, and it's Voss laying there and Colin coming through that door, that is so fucking creepy. It worked. And with the music, the kind of the droned out sound. It was just really effective at being super creepy. And it's like a light switch going off and on, and then he's getting closer. And then he finally, like when he crushes her head in, that's when he takes control of her mind. And puts her face on. That mask is so effective too.
Yes,
so
creepy. Like something as simple as a mask, and it's so effective. And we're seeing him go through the motions of her life, how he's figuring out where her family is. And I love when he is standing in front of her home. That mask, you can see it tighten. Like it fits to his face more. That's when he starts pulling at it. But it's just so subtle if you weren't really paying attention, and my eye just happened to catch it. But you see it pull back, and I was like, oh, damn, that was effective too. But that's when he starts seeing like, okay, now I know where this bitch's family lives. I'm going to go cause some havoc and show her that she better get out of my head and fix everything she's done, or I'm going to kill her family.
And that scene that you're talking about it reminds me a lot of sleep paralysis. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen that documentary that came out on Netflix a while back, or it's been a few years ago. I can't remember. It was Nightmare something, but it was all about sleep paralysis. And that scene, like you just laying there and somebody getting closer to you and you can't move. And like, and you know, in sleep paralysis, it's like a dark figure. It's like a tall man with a hat. There's different ways, you know,
like
people
the Haunting of Hill House.
Yes. And so that reminded me of sleep paralysis and like a demon, you know, getting closer to her. And then it's sitting there choking her. Because that's another thing people say about sleep paralysis is it'll feel like something's on their chest or sitting on them. And you just can't move. You can't do anything. And that's what that reminded me of. Oh yeah, and all of a sudden, just when her head just goes into itself and it turns into that mask. Oh man, so creepy.
No blood, no goop, just a simple, and that's it. Yeah, and then he puts it on, and you're like, oh.
What did you think about that?
What was in her?
Yeah, Pete, tell us where's your mind? He's just along for the ride.
I'm sorry, gang. I've put in so many hours this week. I'm a little slow.
Fine.
That ethereal scene where the two personalities are fighting. It was just it's a masterpiece of a scene. Yeah. And I had to rewind the mask part a couple of times because it looked like Vaughn was actually there, and all of a sudden her face collapses. I have no idea how that was done. It was incredible.
It was
like it was. I gasped. I'm like, what?
Same.
So good. And then when he does, this is help me remember. This is when he does go into the house. Then right.
Well, that's coming up here.
Okay.
He hasn't got
They're still in the apartment with Eddie when that happens.
But there's a scene when in the mind in Colin's mind, he's wearing Voss's face. So he is reliving everything that we've seen in the movie as Voss, but it's Colin wearing the mask, even down to making love with her husband / whatever. It's Colin under him wearing the Voss mask. It's very brief, but I was just like, motherfucker. I was like,
so crazy.
Again, stuff I'm not ready for or expecting. Just the fuck am I watching?
In your face.
You're watching Cronenberg. That's what you're watching.
Yeah, I am fully watching Cronenberg, but I'm getting it. I'm like, okay, they're fighting for this body of who's in control. Colin is obviously more powerful at this moment. Voss is at a deficit because we think she's been having problems already. Right. So
Yeah.
For him to take over, it's like, okay, his psyche is a little bit more stronger than they expected. And so, yeah, he kills Eddie. So he comes to, and Eddie's
dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't. It's off camera.
It's off camera. Happens off the, on there, and he's just laying there in blood, been shot, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut the camera so for Colin's walking around, and we see the girl in the shower just shot to death too.
Yeah.
And you're just like, holy shit. Like this, it's just, you don't know who's doing what. Did Colin shoot Eddie because Eddie's not his friend anymore? Or did Voss accidentally shoot Eddie because Colin's holding the gun and they need him to kill himself? And he almost does it too. He almost shoots himself. And then that last second pulls his head away and shoots the glass behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it was Colin going, this is your one chance to do this. So he is talking to Voss, like, you have control, end it. So now we're led to believe Voss can't do this. It's not the other person. It's Colin being like, yeah, I'm fucked either way. Shoot me. And then Voss still can't do it. So now we're like, who's in control? Who's not wanting to die? Who's not wanting this suicide to happen? And again, this leads into what I think towards the end here, as Colin shows up at Voss's house, or the estranged husband's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the son is standing outside playing, as kids do, holding a map. And this is a weird thing with Cronenberg stuff. Something that is completely innocuous is important. And this kid, like, you never heard this kid talk about this map. You never heard anything about it. Colin walks up to him. Hey, I know your mom, all this other stuff. What's your name? All this. The dad immediately gone. I was like, wow, that guy sounded completely like a pedo. And I think that's what they're going for. But I was like, yeah, that was Stranger Danger 101. But the kid didn't respond correctly. And he should have been taught that. Again, exactly what I'm thinking. So Colin walks up to the door as like someone that knows Voss, and knocks the same way Voss does at the door to throw the dad off.
Yeah.
So the dad's like, oh, I know that knock. And he opens the door, and there's this guy, and he's like, I know your wife, I know Voss, giving all this stuff, and then forces his way into the house, pulls a gun on him. Very intense. Like, I knew this was getting ready to happen, but it's like still kind of like, oh shit. And he is arguing with Voss in his brain. Like, I'm getting ready to do this. Like, either I forget what it is, like, get out of my head, or whatever, you need to do it now, or I'm going to kill, is it Steve or whatever?
Michael, I think.
Michael. I'm going to kill Michael. I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to end it. And then we get the next trippy brain scene.
Yeah.
And this one is as good, if not better, than the face crush. And we literally watch like wax versions of themselves. Like, they look real, and then all of a sudden they have melted. Like
I love
candles.
the use of the wax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew to go with the candle thing. So I was like, oh, there we go. But this very, like, the two bodies are one type thing. Like, he even shows, like, it reminded me of I think it's Hellraiser 3 with the two Cenobites that their faces are twisted together, the twins. And I was like, because they mash their faces, and as they're trying to pull apart, it's like their skins are still attached.
I love it.
And one side rips the other side off. So, like, Colin has this mound of flesh on the side of his head, and Voss is missing flesh on the side of hers. I'm just like,
yeah, gnarly.
Damn it, Cronenberg. I wish you were dead. So yeah, I flipped it. But yeah, just in this battle, and then out of nowhere, Voss is like, kill him.
She shows up.
Right.
Yeah, she can so easily just come then at that moment, but she's
Just
been hiding the whole rest of the time.
And we say walk in his mind, we see the kitchen, but it's in the mind, and Voss just kind of comes out of the shadows.
Yeah.
And she's very calm. She's very like, okay, I'm listening. What do you have to say? And he's like, get me out of this, do what you need to do, or I'm going to kill him. And she gets like an inch from his face, and she's like, kill him. Go ahead. Do it. Kill him. I'm going to. She's like, go ahead. Do it. Almost to the point that Michael takes this moment because Colin is distracted, obviously.
Yeah.
Knocks the gun out of his hand. Michael grabs the gun, shoots Colin in the shoulder. He does hit him, but Colin's able to get the upper hand on him and get the gun back and shoots him to almost to the point where I'm like, was that Colin or was that Voss shooting Michael? Like, we have no idea. And Michael now has killed another person. It's still on task. It's still just a random, indiscriminate killing spree that it looks like Colin's on. He's sitting there, still cannot pull the trigger, cannot kill himself, or Voss can't force him to kill himself. And a knife comes out of nowhere and stabs him in the neck, just like in the beginning of the movie.
The fucking kid.
The kid. All right.
Kid. Camera cuts over just as Colin whips the gun around
and shoots.
Yeah, and shoots.
Instinct. You just got stabbed in the fucking neck. You don't care who stabbed you. You're shooting them.
Yeah, exactly.
But that makes this scene even more impactful. So the reactionary shot is understandable, but the continuous shooting and shooting the kid in the head, once you see who it is.
Yep.
And we figure out that it is Voss shooting her son, which means it was Voss killing Michael.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this was orchestrated because we find out, because what kid would be able to react like that and do that to a stranger? Even though you watch him kill your dad, it's not going to be able to go for the jugular.
Yeah. The kid had no emotion on his face. At all.
No emotion.
Yeah. Nothing.
And I looked over at Jackie and I went, Girder. And she's like, oh, yeah, that is. And it is. So I was like, okay. They make a point early on in the movie when they take over Colin that they grab him and they prep him. How long to prep Colin? Oh, about 4 hours. And we should be able to have this done. This is not a grab someone, knock them out, take over their body. It is a process. That kid was outside for a reason, walking around, playing, not in the house, away from his dad for who knows how long. Girder had this all set up and still pulled off the plan. It still comes off a murder-suicide. Not so much a suicide, but the kid takes out Colin. Colin kills the kid. The family's dead. The mission's success. Voss is free to continue working for the company and take over for Girder, because Girder says early on, I can't do this anymore. If I go in one more time, it'll probably kill me or something like that. But she goes in.
She goes in
one more time, and it is setting everything up. So my theory is none of this was accidental. All of this was planned. Every bit of it. I think even up to the mission really wasn't something they were hired to do, because with Eddie being a plant, there's way too many things that are happening that I think Girder orchestrated this the second she knew that what's her face was going to be going, is starting to show cracks.
Yeah.
And this was how to get rid of
Michael.
Was getting rid of the family. It's just because the timeline doesn't line up anywhere else, and nothing in a Cronenberg movie is accidental or bad editing or anything like that. There is a purpose pretty much for every scene in the movie. Every line of dialogue, there is a purpose. And I was like, this was orchestrated from the go.
And there's a moment too when Colin is standing, and it's Colin. Voss is still under, and Colin is standing in front of Voss's house, and he's saying the hi darling, and then we're seeing Voss, and she's saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then that's when we see Girder get up, run over, and see what she's saying. And that, I think, was her cue to realize, okay, he or she is now there at Michael and Ira's house, and it's time for me to go under and
Ira.
get into Ira. Yeah.
Because
So
all they have to do is the procedure
yeah.
to get the implant into the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they both have to be there when it happens. Or they could have had lab techs in, like, it's like a row of garages or wherever this was filmed. And
Yeah.
it comes out of a garage or area. So it's like, it's very well, they could have, he was already prepped, ready to go. And then Girder gets up. I know where he is, gets into the kid's body. And now the kid is outside, because the kid is not reacting to a stranger like a kid should, because the kid's answering, like, what's your name? Oh, it's Ira. Where do you live? Right there. And points directly at the house. Is all these things. And I even think toward the map means something. It's, you have found your way home. You have found your way to where you need to be. All of this, as for Voss, needs to be working for the company. You have found your way full circle to where you need to be. And again, I could be completely wrong. I don't think I am. I feel
That's
like
about the path I'm on.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's pretty well laid out, even without watching it a second time going.
That's the twist.
Yeah.
That's the twist of the movie, is that Colin, I mean, even if Colin was part of the plan, I think Colin was still part of the plan. Girder just kind of swooped in and killed two birds with one stone. Because at the end of the day, they're getting control of Zuthru, and they've got blackmail on the stepson, and it's a huge payday for them. And not only that, they're finally getting their top assassin, the woman who's going to take over Girder's position. She's grooming her for that role. Now we've got her at her prime. She's peaked. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is a wholesome company. It's not
exactly.
like, oh, they did this. How dare they?
Yeah.
They are literally jumping into people's brains to commit assassinations.
Exactly.
For capital gain. So it's like, this isn't a stretch on ethics whatsoever for this company.
Yeah.
Right. So, I agree with you guys. Girder had this plan. This was planned out from the beginning, but there's something interesting that kind of happens at the end when they're at the apartment and Colin is going to kill, or at Michael's house, and he's, talking to Voss, and they have this interaction where she's telling him that it wasn't her that killed Ava. It wasn't her that killed Ava's dad. That these were desires that he had. It was Colin that did this. Colin deep down wanted to do this. So at the same time, I think deep down, Voss wanted to kill her child and her, and Michael.
Very good point. Very good point.
Because why do we see that shift at the end? I mean, we're meant to see that Voss is the one just laying bullets into her kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's meant there for some reason. And so I think it's meant to show that, she was being brainwashed to a certain extent. She was being groomed. But deep down, she had these desires to do these things.
For sure.
And I think Charlie brought that up earlier, where you were saying, like, these people that they're picking out, they have connections to these people that they're killing. And they, like, maybe somehow they know that deep down they wish these people were dead. I mean, because we know Colin, he's sort of living in an empty relationship, also like Voss.
Yeah, she's seeing the parallels between his life and her life once she gets into his mind.
Right. And because he loves Ava, but he's always going to feel empty in their relationship because he feels like her dad is the reason he's successful, because he's the reason he has a job and things like that. And he's always going to feel, I guess, almost inferior.
Yeah.
Because
That's
of
exactly
that.
it. Yeah. He's got basically like an inferiority complex.
Yeah.
He's also, they even make a point, like he's a druggie. He's addicted to cocaine. He does all this other stuff, and again, it could also, this is one of those things where this is allowed to be interpreted as she just told Colin that to get control, like just to give him that little bit of a pause and go, wait, did I want them dead? And it immediately gives her the chance. I also wanted to I know we've already said it, but if you haven't watched this movie and you do plan on it after listening to us, the child's death is graphic.
Yeah.
It's
Very
quite
shocking,
shocking, jarring. If you do have an issue with seeing stuff like that in movies, this isn't like The Blob. This isn't like that. This is a straight up holy shit moment. What did I just watch?
Yeah.
So forewarning anyone that isn't, wanting to listen to us ramble about this movie and go, well, that sounds like right up my alley.
That's
bear
good to
that
give
in
that
mind.
disclaimer.
Yeah.
And I'm very much like that too. Like kid violence and stuff like that, and especially in horror movies, can fuck with me sometimes. But I don't know. I think this one, my belief was how do I say that? My belief was so far suspended that I was like, okay, like it's just a movie.
You're almost expecting something, like you see something and you're just like, holy shit, what did I just see? I'm about to see something even more fucked up. And I think this is like the crescendo of that. We have watched so many fucked up things. You're like, what else can this guy do to me? that and it will mess with you a lot if you're susceptible to that. And it's just like, holy shit. Like I just saw a chick with a dick earlier. This is what's shocking now. Oh God.
Yeah, and you don't expect him to come back around to the family really until Colin gets in control and he's lurking around and figuring things out. And also, his mind was kind of darker anyways, because he does do drugs. He's a dealer. He's a very selfish person. He's always in it for himself and for survival. And kind of this relationship he's gotten into now, because of him feeling inferior with the position that he's in, I don't know, maybe it throws him for a loop, and that's why he feels so distant from Ava at that point. Like maybe he didn't intend for it to go that far. Maybe it was just supposed to be a fling, and then before you know it, you're living together and engaged. And
there's money involved too, so I'm sure
that
he's
too.
living the
he's
better
not having
life.
to hustle and all that kind of stuff.
Because they're in a nice apartment. They just moved. He was on a trip somewhere that took an airplane. So it's not like he doesn't have, but he's working a basic job, an entry level, which is a big middle finger from Sean Bean to him. Like, I got you, your boyfriend a job, my future son-in-law, ladies and gentlemen, and then he was supposed to work that weekend. Oh, they got us looking at lampshades. Your name's at the top of the list. You figure out that it's the dad fucking with him the entire time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, just seeing the way he treats him at that party and in front of people.
Oh, yeah.
I would not stay with a guy if that's how his dad treated me and they let them treat me that way. I'm out. See ya. No, I am not. Nope, 100%. Not staying with somebody like that.
All right,
I say, obviously the money was a big motivator. Sorry.
I'll say while Pete's still looking a little wide-eyed and, not quite sure what reality he's in right now, we go ahead and jump into the things. What do you think?
The things.
Listen to Pete. Yes. Do the things. He goes, I gotta go rewatch this movie.
I do.
Man, we haven't heard these drops in forever.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
Feels good.
Let's see. I think Pete might need to be reminded of some. So, Hannah, what is your favorite kill in Possessor?
Let's see. Well, I'm trying to think. I really enjoyed the fire poker through the mouth. I thought that was absolutely amazing, and plus the little, the taking out of the eyeball, just the little. Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. I'd have to say that's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Well, and it wasn't a kill, I guess, but
almost
a kill.
Yeah, not a kill. Not a kill. Anna, what about you? What's your favorite of Possessor?
Probably the opening one, because it happens less than 10 minutes in and it's super violent and you're just like, whoa, what am I in for the rest of the movie?
A lot of blood. a
Yeah,
lot.
a lot.
in
It's
that
true.
opening
like
scene.
overkill.
And she just
It's
playing in it.
excessive. Yeah. And
Excessive, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you haven't seen the movie yet, so you're just like, what is going on? That's a lot.
Yeah, it's like, I
But-
think he's dead. I think he's dead. You're
Yeah,
good.
you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he was kind of a big dude, but I think the jugular did it. You know, that
Yeah.
was probably a one and done.
Well, it's
and
kind of like
walked
with
out.
well, I want to say an honorable mention. Michael at the end, we didn't talk about how he is just Colin is just slamming him with that. It's a cleaver, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
Isn't it?
chopped
He
him
gets
up.
Finger
Yeah.
whacked off too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he just keeps going on him. Oh my gosh.
It gets visceral, which also
Yeah.
leads back into the way Voss killed the person at the beginning with
Right.
that veracity lets you know that's Voss killing Michael at the
Yeah.
end because it's the same kind of passion, if you will, behind it. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pete, what about you, bud? He said, "Hi,
When
I'm
the so the cop shoots Holly at the very beginning,
Pete." Mhm.
shoots her dead. She falls down, not breathing, and then the son of a bitch shoots her one last time through the head. A white cop shoots a black woman.
Oh, he wasn't white. He was
Forget-
Asian. He was
Asian?
Asian. Yeah.
Anyway, it was
I
that
yelled
made me.
I yelled at the
Yeah,
TV.
I that made me real uncomfortable. Like, she's dead, for Christ's sake.
I yelled. I went, "You don't double tap if you're a cop. Like you
Don't-
don't do
Yeah.
that."
Like, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, you,
Oh, I was
So that
yelling
was-
at television.
that I don't know if that was my favorite, but that's the one that. Whoa, I
That
didn't
was
quite
one
know
you
how to digest that one.
you don't expect. And I read a little bit about that was that role wasn't cast yet, and it was not listed as a woman of color. Being
Yeah, no
that
race was
character.
specified. Yeah.
Yeah, no race was specified. So Cronenberg's like it added a little extra level
Oh yeah,
of her being black and being killed by the cops at the end
Yeah.
of that. So it added a whole nother extra thing that wasn't written into the script.
Yeah, it just happened
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it worked
that's
out really
perfect.
well. Yeah.
Charlie,
so
what's yours?
me, because I know I knew someone was going to say it, but I was going to argue that Sean Bean doesn't fucking die in this movie, and it actually kind of made me mad. Because he
Well,
gets
the,
the most.
the news reporter does say that he's conscious, but it's we're still
not good.
uncertain what that
They s-
means at this time.
They said he was stable. It's like he's
Well-
stable and not
how
conscious.
can you be?
And then they
stable
show him in
after
the
being
wheelchair.
brutalized by
Exactly.
that?
My
Like
thoughts,
that?
exactly, Pete. But
Yeah.
then he is also like Voss is having these visions of him. Like it's her though. He's looking
Yeah,
up.
the wheelchair
Yeah,
was
oh,
a
I-
vision.
Yeah.
With Colin standing in front of him, and then it's her standing in front of him. Very trippy. Like sometimes you don't know what is actually happening. And again, this is where a second viewing would come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really kind of got to give it to the beginning kill because it sets the bar as to the violence we're going to see and at what level. Because a lot of times, if this was a low budget movie, that would have been like, there went all the budget. None of the kills are going to be as cool as that one. They
Yeah.
went all in now.
Yeah.
Knowing this was a Cronenberg, I'm like, you started there. That means everything now is pretty much going to go up. Maybe not in terms of blood, but like even when he kills the girlfriend, shoots her in the back as she's running, and then double taps her in the back of the head, like from close range.
Yeah.
That's a different level of evil, if you will.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be as violent, but it is still a despicable act. But that first one, it's just, he gets stabbed in the jugular. And even then I'm kind of like, okay, a couple more stabs just to make sure.
Turns
but
him
it's-
into hamburger.
It turns into hamburger. Exactly. Like the dude's wearing like a tuxedo looking thing, and everything is
White.
red.
Yeah.
And then she is sitting on top of him, stabbing, and then just takes her hand and plays in the blood. Just
Yeah.
swishes it around, holds the hand up. It's dripping off. She has silver fingernail polish.
Yeah.
And the blood's just coming off. I mean, stark contrasts to everything. But it was quite good. It was quite good. I feel like I did this backwards, but I don't care because Raining Blood's supposed to be how many people died. But I think, we jumped right into Kill of the Week. I'm not even worried about it. I'm that far out of practice. I think that works. People die. I don't know how many. It is what it is. Let's rate this bad boy.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back. Whew.
Pete and I did that a couple episodes ago, and I had to cut in the internet, and I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm just going to, I have learned when I have the girls on here to just own up to my mistakes and let it ride. And sometimes it's the most memorable part of the episode.
Yes,
most definitely. Again, everybody giving me crap about R.I.P. Val Kilmer. And
so funny.
The amount of people that went, please God, tell me you told Jackie and corrected it. And I had to be like, yes, Pete really did message her during the episode when he said he did. Because I walk in the house and she goes, so Val Kilmer. And I went, yeah. Apparently he's still alive.
That's great.
Apparently he pulled through and no one told me. So, no clue. So I am owning up to my mistakes.
He pulled a Lazarus.
There he is.
Yep.
Healed. Done.
Healed. He's all good. Well, here, since this was my pick, we'll let you guys rate it first. I'm really interested to hear what you think, Charlie and Pete. Pete actually messaged me and said that if Charlie likes this movie, he's going to be so pissed because he tries to get you to watch the weird shit all the time and you bitch about it. So I'm really intrigued to hear and what Jackie thought as well.
None of the weird shit, Pete, you have me watch has this level of blood in it.
No, that's true.
Okay.
That was my bitch about Raw. Was I wanted more cannibalism and more blood.
Oh, Raw.
I
love that movie.
If Raw had been even half of this amount of blood, I would have liked Raw a lot more. And I didn't hate Raw. So don't give me too much.
That was a good episode. Hannah needs to watch it. I keep telling her. We might that.
Watch Raw. It's something else.
It's so good, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, I want Pete to go first.
But then Thirst had buckets and buckets of blood.
Yeah, Thirst.
And you hated the shit out of that movie. You came up with a whole new rating scale.
I did
because of that movie.
Because it's just not good. I don't know what to tell you.
Marvelous. Nate thought it was anyway.
Well, yeah. Look, that's on your that's a plus on your side.
Very good.
Nate thought it was good.
Good.
Gee, let me change my score, Pete. Pete, why don't you go first?
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. This is a strong recommend. I didn't quite understand why she had to commit suicide to get out of the body. That was my only gripe to the whole thing, because at the very end they kill each other. They don't kill themselves.
Yeah, but I think that's to finish the plan is a suicide.
Yeah.
So that person, even though no one's going to believe them, I don't think they want them going, it wasn't me. It was someone else in my body.
Okay.
If enough people keep saying that, then someone's going to be like, wait a minute.
Wait, something's happening.
Yeah, something's going on.
Yeah. And I think it's also, I think it's the best way for that, the bond between the two minds to be broken. I think that was like the best way too.
Okay.
To make sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
I actually like that description. That way there's, because they keep seeing if she's lingering, like the bond is fully dissolved or whatever.
Right.
I like that description. So, Pete. There, we answered it for you.
All right. Thank you so much. It's a 9. This is a solid movie. It's beautiful. It's well written. There isn't a wasted second in this thing. There's boobs, there's blood, there's peen.
Yes.
A very tasteful sex scene, I gotta say. This was one. Listen, I don't know if y'all have seen Daddy Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
I've not.
Hello,
I
like
haven't.
Oh yeah.
watch that one and get back to me. So
Got
this,
it.
I was like, okay, this is. I think sex
Right.
scenes can be tasteful, and I
Yeah.
think this was just enough. Just
Yeah,
enough.
this is
Yeah.
strong recommend 9. Go see this movie. It's on Tubi.
It's free. Go watch it, Charlie.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Damn, Pete. Why you got?
I really like this movie.
I'm really
Yeah,
glad
he's
you
wishing he
liked
would have
it.
went
Yeah.
first.
Good Lord. So watching this through an action lens, I guess, because I was making some parallels. I did have another parallel to another movie. And in reading some of the reviews on this, no one else has put it together. And I think it's the Eddie scene that really kind of cinched it for me. Was I got a lot of Total Recall vibes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where even Eddie is kind of like the guy that comes to snap Quaid out and make him take that other pill because
Yeah.
he's still sitting in Recall. And then that really got my brain going of what if Total Recall wasn't like a fake identity? What if it was like truly Quaid and I forget what his other name was in Total Recall, but what if they were both identities fighting for control the entire movie of Total Recall, kind of like this, but it was two versions of Arnold trying to exist simultaneously.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
because you get that video in Total Recall where he's like, oh yeah, we you were told this was all planned. We're going to put his brain, his memories back in, and he's in on it with us. You get that video of Arnold being part of the bad guys.
Mhm.
And I was then going, I would have liked that a lot more, and I probably would have been able to follow the story a little bit better. I was very lost in a lot of this. Visually, this is striking, and conceptually, I kind of get it. And I was figuring it out as it went. I'm 100% honest with myself. I'm at like a 6.5. I didn't hate it. I think it's a little better than just meh and average, because there's the finding out it was all practical effects for like 98% really pushed my score up. When I was like, okay, excellent. I love the fact that this was done the way it needed to be done. So I was like, yeah, that helps. Visually, it helps. It's acted well. Like I am in on it. It's just, I spent a lot of this movie going, the fuck is going on? And it has taken me an entire day to reflect back on it, to go, okay, I bet it's like this, or I bet it's like that. And I don't need movies spoon fed to me, but I do need a little more, I guess, in a movie.
Mhm.
I don't need happy endings. And this is definitely a different happy ending depending on whose side you're on.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would recommend this to certain people, just not everyone. I'd have to know that especially with the end kill. There's just some people you don't want to recommend it to. Jackie didn't respond like, oh, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. I do know it was pretty shocking to her. And I think she's kind of in the same wheelhouse I am, where she's like, I didn't hate it. I just don't know what I watched. Because I wouldn't even call this a horror movie. There's definitely some horror elements, especially in the brain sequences where Colin's taken back over. It's very horror-esque, but it's not like a straight up slasher film. It's just a very bloody, it's a bloody crime thriller with a hint of, it's a Cronenberg.
Science fiction.
Yeah. It's very sci-fi. It's very alternate reality type things. But yeah, I think I'm comfortable with the 6.5. It's not a thirst.
I'll take it.
Worry.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I didn't hate it. We didn't hate it. I'll take it.
It is not a movie. Well, obviously I didn't seek it out. It's definitely not the type of movie I seek out, normally. Plus it's 2020. I mean, I watched a new movie, Pete. Can you?
I know. I did get a confirmation that was okay, because I was going back and forth. I was like, well, I could pick an 80s movie and do Altered States. And then I brought up Possessor, and I was like, well, if y'all don't care to do one from 2020, And that's when Nate chimed
we
in.
do recent movies. It's just a fun trope that I really just don't watch as many new releases.
Yeah.
Because Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, it's like something comes out like every other week.
I know, yeah.
Pete, you listed off like 3 earlier today that you still need to catch up on.
Mhm.
I haven't watched any of the Ty West movies. Okay.
I know you need to.
I'm gonna watch Maxine, and then I'm gonna watch Pearl, and
Don't
then
you
I'm
dare.
gonna watch
Don't
X.
watch Maxine first. Watch it.
No, I'm gonna completely go against the grain.
I love those movies.
I'm gonna watch the
make
last
decisions.
half of Maxine, the first half of Pearl, the last half of X, to the first part of
You're a
Maxine.
butt.
And I
Get outta here.
Get out of here.
All right. All right, ladies, it's your turn to score.
All right,
this one.
Hannah, what do you rate Possessor?
All right. I got to go 9 out of 10. I'm
Hell
with
yeah.
Pete. Like I said, this was a second watch through for me. I loved it. I was with Charlie when I first watched it. I kind of felt the same way. It was like, okay, I can dig it, but I just don't. I don't know. Like what did I see? I just couldn't put it together. And I don't know. This time I watched it, and it just all fell into place for me. I love the kind of we're watching this degradation of Voss's mind as it goes along. And she's getting groomed by Girder, and because I didn't really understand the ending when I watched it too the first time, and it just left me like scratching my head. But second watch through, it makes so much sense that Girder had put all this into place. And like we've said, she essentially killed 2 birds with 1 stone. More than that, she put all these things into place. But one of the main things that she was trying to do was to take away Voss's humanity. And I don't know, to do that to a person, that's evil, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the points through this that Cronenberg was trying to show, and I just dig it all. I love the story. The gore was great, and I feel like the story is like different. And like we've said, there are movies that are like this, like Total Recall and Inception. But I don't know. I feel like it's refreshing for something like this in the horror genre, and it is more sci-fi horror, psychological horror, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like it's a refreshing movie. It's different. It makes you think, like we've all been saying, like we've been thinking about it ever since we watched.
With you, yeah.
Yes, it sticks with you. You're trying to kind of figure out what was Cronenberg trying to say. Yeah, I loved it. I think it was great. 9 out of 10 for me.
I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 as well.
Woo!
And I think this was a great conversation. I really don't know.
Yeah.
What's keeping it from being a 10, really? I mean, the length's great. The acting's great. I love Christopher Abbott, too. He was in that TV show Girls on HBO, and it's kind of like my generation Sex and the City. It came out in my early 20s, too, so I watched it, and he was one of the boyfriends to one of the lead girls on there. So I saw him when I first watched this, and I was like, oh, shit, I ain't seen him in forever. So he really impressed me because I haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
Yeah.
Andrea Riseborough as Voss was great. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
The cast was small, but they all did what they needed to do, and they excelled at doing it. And above all, man, it's just a beautiful film from start to finish. And to have as much violence in it as it did, and to say it's a beautiful film, I think that's Cronenberg. That's Cronenberg, baby. And I think this could be like a double feature with Videodrome. Watch Videodrome first, then watch Possessor, and have a little Cronenberg, daddy and baby Cronenberg movie night.
I had a lot of flashback to Videodrome.
Yeah. Like
and I don't know
the weird and then the sexualness of it too.
And I'll watch anything with James Woods in it.
Oh yeah.
I love him as an actor. But yeah, and I can't explain why Videodrome is probably one of my more favorite Cronenberg movies. But yet this one didn't impact the same, but I definitely got the flavor of it. And it's fine. I don't want Brandon to be a carbon copy of his dad.
Right.
Like, that's
Yeah.
not what I want. Do your own thing. And it feels like he's trying to find, like, he has to live up to the Cronenberg name.
Mhm.
So you say Cronenberg body horror, and
Yeah.
he definitely nails that. Like,
Mhm.
there is,
Right.
it's not Fly level body horror, but it's up there.
It's body
Like,
horror,
It's
100%.
body horror.
Yeah.
especially with the, you know, the brain stuff where they're morphing into each other or melting and things like that. So he's earned the name, but he's finding his footing as far as telling the stories. And I think that's just going to come better with experience.
Yeah.
As he continues to go.
And I guess I could say, you know, Anna, you're like, I don't know why it's a 9 and not completely a 10. I think for me, it's just, and not saying this is a bad thing, but this is a movie that, like me, like Charlie, like Pete, sometimes on a first watch, you don't understand it. And so you might not ever go back and watch it again to understand. So maybe
That might not be appealing for everyone.
right, because the first time you're just like, what the hell? No, I don't have
It's
any.
like, yeah,
You know,
it's
I don't want
like
to go
not-
back and watch that.
It's not like watching Maverick for the very first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
Right.
Your adrenaline's pumping. You're just
Yeah.
like, this is the greatest thing. I can't wait to watch it again. This one is, I didn't hate it. I don't know if I want to watch it again. This is
Yeah.
scary. I don't know. But
Now, I will say, like, the first time I watched it, I guess I was kind of in the same boat as y'all, where I loved it. I just wasn't sure what I loved. I think I had it. I was like, okay, I've got this
Yeah.
central story. I've got it figured out. But then even then, when I watched it with Hannah, it didn't click to me then until I rewatched it and thought about it further. Sometimes too, when you've got a podcast, you got to think a little deeper about things, you know.
oh,
So, and then
Exactly.
I'm thinking this time around, and I'm taking notes, and I'm like, so what if Girder had this planned all along? And then my mind
Yeah.
just started spinning, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's something I didn't catch on the first time.
Yeah,
if this
me
had
either.
been a
Third time around,
random,
I'm like, okay, yeah.
if
What?
this had been a random Jackie clicked on it wanting to watch a movie, I probably wouldn't have paid a lick of attention except for the gore. This
Right.
would have been a done. Okay. Yeah, it was on, and I'm not going to put any thought to it. But what you just said, doing a podcast forces you, even though we're not
Right.
movie critics and we're not doing anything like, I don't know if back when I learned in film school that,
Yeah.
you know, everything he did here was correct. No, we're just going, okay, I need to be able to talk about this and not sound like a complete fucking moron. I need to
Right.
think on it
Yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah.
which happens on my show, and it's totally fine. We
Quite
do
a
that,
bit,
don't we, Pete?
actually.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, there's a
on
lot of
that
times
show.
we-
it's usually coming out of my
Listen,
mouth.
but,
I
you
gotta
know,
say, it was. I appreciate you guys letting me have a pick. I didn't even expect that, first and foremost, when y'all asked me to cover for Nate. But it was fun to hear you guys' take on it, and to make you guys watch something that you wouldn't normally click on. Because as
Right.
far I
Yeah.
was like, I think Pete might like it all right, because Pete, you do go for the weird stuff, and I love you for it. And I was like, well, Charlie, I don't know, but it does have the assassin vibes, so I think he's
Yeah.
gonna dig that. I was like, I think we might have a winner here, so I'm
That-
happy
that-
that
that
it worked
kept-
out.
Yes.
Well, even though it's just me and Pete,
Yes.
apparently Nate pulled some strings, and we have one more review.
Okay.
I don't
Hear
know
it.
how he got this. He emailed it to me. I haven't heard it. So if there's something wrong with this recording, it ain't on me. And
Don't shoot, don't shoot the messenger.
But Nate said it just says, "Play me, Daddy Cronenberg."
Yo, I'm back. Give me back my action horror movies. Go neon. So put up for a special guest with me. You know, it's your guy, Sylvester Stallone. And with me as always, well, this time, it's Daddy Cronenberg. Say hello, Daddy Cronenberg.
Yes, I see that you are covering a movie called Possessor. It is made by my boy Brandon Cronenberg, and I am here to let you know that you are not ready for the death and the blood and the stabbings.
Yeah, what was all that? I was gonna watch the movie, but then I typed in P and O on my computer, and another website popped up that was. And so I clicked on it. Turns out when you press P and O on your computer, And I'm not going to say the rest, but let me tell you, it turns out it's in a pretty cool, website with a lot of videos. And they're really good.
Yes, I know. But maybe you go back over there and I talk a little bit about my son's work. For I do believe it should have been a mini-series because there's a fascinating concept.
Oh, yeah, sure, I probably was, but,
No, you go away. Go. Bye. Go.
hey, anyway, I guess I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna let Cronenberg you take care of it over here.
Yes, thank you, sir. You never got to be in one of my movies.
Yeah, what's up with that?
You wanna punch a face into a stomach? 'Cause we could do that, we could do that later.
Yeah, maybe I'll probably do that on a Tuesday, but it's whatever. All right, I gotta go. I kid. I love you, Anna, and Pete and Charlie. Yeah, that's all I got. So slice the low now.
Good, now it is Daddy Cronenberg's time. Yes, anyway, old Brandon, he used to stab his teddy bears over and over again, as we Cronenbergs are known to do. And when he was stabbing his teddy bears and pulling out all the stuffing, I was like, you should write a script, son. And he was only 6 years old, but the sooner the better, I always say, when it comes to writing the screenplays of the future. So anyway, I truly do believe he should have made this a little 6-episode TV show to really dive into this concept of hijacking in, quite like the Matrix, but with more stabbing than the Matrix. Yes, let the blood run. Let it flow. Anywho, I don't really remember much. So then what I did was I watched Repossessed. You ever see that movie, guys? It has Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair. It's one of Daddy Cronenberg's favorite comedies. They just keep puking on one another. It's great. I highly recommend Repossessed over Possessor. So if I had to give Possessor a score, it'd be like a 7 out of 10. But Repossessed, that's like a solid 9 out of 10. And I highly recommend it. So thank you, Anna, for coming onto the show with Pete and Charlie. And I'm so glad that you've made it. Now, if you ever decide to do Infinity Pool, there will be no reach arounds because it's an audio format. And have you ever heard Mia Goth's real voice? She looks like a pug and sounds like one too. And Cronenberg out.
Oh man.
Is that what David Cronenberg really sounds like?
Apparently so.
Y'all keep telling me that dude's not dead.
That's what
Okay.
Yeah, he's best friends with the crypt keeper.
That's
apparently.
exactly what I
real.
thought. Wow. And I didn't.
You guys haven't seen Infinity Pool either?
No.
Oh man. Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth. Yeah, she's in it.
Oh,
We did
yeah,
cover that.
so
That was
good.
like one of our first 10 movies we covered when we started the pod.
I've heard you guys cover, and I'm trying to remember. I also I think didn't I cut above cover Possessor and Infinity Pool too?
Probably.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to their Possessor episode, but I did listen to their Infinity Pool one. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't keep up with some because you know me. I don't care if I watch the movie or not. So it doesn't bother me.
Did we go to
see
theaters?
Infinity
No,
Pool?
Nefarious Means.
Oh, gotcha.
That's how we watched it.
Okay.
I'm still kind of wrapping my head around Cronenberg being introduced by Rambo. So that was
interesting twist
different.
of
I have no idea how Nate pulls these things off, even when he's not here.
He's got connections.
Yeah, he knows a guy.
Yeah,
he does.
It's Steven Seagal because he lives in his closet. So that's
okay. Yeah.
Steven Seagal has everyone in his Rolodex. So
his fave dude, Tom Savini, is going to be at Horror Hound.
I know. I tagged him in the comment, and he was like, "I'm so excited about all the conversations we're gonna have."
Oh yeah, so much.
He better talk to me, damn it.
Me too. I'm going to make him talk to us.
I just love the picture of Nate trying to talk to him, and Tom Savini just nods.
Yeah,
that caption.
Don't say anything.
That photo, that post lives rent free in my head.
Me too. Every time I see Tom Savini now, that's all I can think of.
Nate.
Yeah, just thinking of Nate.
I have inserted Nate in all other pop culture references too. So you get a little Tom Savini. You can't see Danger Zone Kenny Loggins without seeing Nate anymore.
It's the same photo. Yeah. Same
it's
photo.
the exact same picture. So, all right. Well, that is our first episode of our shortened month of Neon. It's a couple of weeks of Neon, but that doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely as month of Neon. So yeah, next week we are crossing our fingers that Charlie's Good Luck with Neon movies continues as I just look up movies that say, give me a movie with neon in the title, just like Neon Maniacs. And we absolutely adored it. I did the same on the action side and got Neon City starring Michael Ironside. So names got it. I like Michael Ironside.
Sure.
Yep.
We did talk a little bit about Total Recall tonight, with also has Michael Ironside in it. You know,
meant to be.
Yeah. I did just get it on Blu-ray because it was available through Kino Lorbo, so I have a physical copy of it, unlike I couldn't get for Neon Maniacs. So fingers crossed that it works, and I'm hoping there's some neon in the movie and not just in the name.
We'll find out.
But it's in the name. It's in the name at least. That'll be next week. And again, Anna will be joining us all month long. We have a couple other extra special episodes, unthemed. We're gonna kind of just wing it for the last 2 of August. Just have some fun. We accidentally let Pete pick a movie. At first, I was excited till he told me to change the spelling, and now I'm worried. I'll explain that next episode.
Yeah, it's not John Carpenter. Never mind.
No, John Carpenter.
It's not that one. All right, ladies, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on a regular basis?
You can find us wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. And we're on Instagram at Cinema Slab Podcast. We're also on TikTok at that, and Facebook. You can search Cinema Slab Podcast and you'll find us.
Fantastic. And also, you will find us in all those places. We are at Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the Facebook group. Also, Give Me Back My Action Movies, the Facebook group. Both of those are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on Threads. We are on YouTube. Please give us 5 stars. Also at Spotify and iTunes. We are also going back to every 2 weeks releasing on B Action. I love doing it every week. It's a lot of work. So we're going back to every other week on B Action. And as far as this recording, I don't know which one came out. So you'll find out Friday. Yeah. So, but we're having a lot of fun over there. Make sure our biggest thing for B Action is go over on TikTok. Dustin is running that account, and good Lord, the man goes nuts with videos. It is a lot of fun. I crack up daily when he sends a new video or 2 over, and Mickey and I are having just an absolute blast just watching Dustin. He doesn't know these action movies, but he just keeps looking up new stuff and going, look what I found, and sends it over to us. And it's like a kid on Christmas until he watches some of the movies, much like Pete. This looks good. Oh, this looks good. Oh. All right. Well, that is Possessor. Thank you, everyone, for checking it out. Thank you, Daddy Cronenberg, for the impromptu review of your son's movie. I stand by R.I.P. Cronenberg after that interview. So,
oh my goodness.
We will see you guys next week. Ladies, thank you very much. Anna, we will see you again next Monday.
Yes, I'll be here.
Fantastic.
She'll be there.
Pete, you going to get this IT shit figured out?
Jesus Christ, I hope so. I got to go in early again tomorrow and stay late. Oh, it's bad.
Who let the intern code? That's what I want to know.
Man, it's bad. I mean,
who doesn't update on Friday?
It was Thursday. Thursday overnight.
Thursday?
Thursday
overnight.
Thursday
overnight.
Because my boss called me at 4 a.m. You're coming in.
Damn. 4 a.m.?
Hell no. That sucks.
Poor